To start a new player evaluation, first make sure you've selected your team from the start page and select the Player Evaluations menu on the left-hand navigation. If this is your first evaluation for the team, it'll automatically have you set up a player evaluation form. If it's not your first evaluation, you can press the New Evaluation button at the top of the page. To save you time, Kickmetrics provides you a pre-built form for most sports, which should work fine for most teams. But if you wish to customize this, we make it super easy for you to do that. Let's use the sport of soccer as an example. First, let's start by creating positions for your sport that you'll evaluate. By default, we have field players and goalkeepers set up for soccer. You can add new positions by pressing this plus sign, and you can remove any by hitting the X on the upper right of each position. Let's say you want to add strikers, midfielders, and defenders. You can easily do that here. Now we need to set the details for each position. Let's start with the field player. By default, we've set 4 categories called technical, physical, tactical, and psychosocial, which is synonymous to psychological. Similar to positions, you can add a category by pressing this Add button, or delete any category by pressing the trash icons. Under each category, you'll see an active and an inactive section. Any criteria under the active section will be used as a criteria in your evaluation to rate your players, while criteria under the inactive section will not show up in your evaluation. You can choose to either accept all the criteria that we've prepared by default, or simply move the criteria from the inactive to the active to add, or from the active to the inactive section to remove a criteria. Or you can create and name your own criteria by typing it into the input box underneath the active criteria section. Here's a pro tip. When adding new criteria, try to use one from the inactive section on the right whenever possible, instead of naming your own, because we can then provide you with broader and more standardized comparisons and data analytics for each criteria against other teams in your region, country, or even from around the world. When you are done going through each position, category, and criteria that will appear on your players' evaluation forms, press Save and Continue. The last step before starting your player evaluation is to assign each player on your roster to the type of evaluation that he or she will receive. For example, here you see a roster of your team with a check mark next to the types of evaluations they will receive. By default, the first option, or the field player option in this case, is checked for all players until you change it. Players can also receive multiple evaluations. For example, it's possible that some of your players could be just a goalkeeper, or both a field player and goalkeeper. Also, if you notice that you're missing any players in your roster, you can add them at the top section here by entering the player's first and last name, as well as an email address of either the player or one of his or her parents. We'll immediately send the player an email invitation to join the team, and that player will now be added to your roster on the bottom immediately, where you can set the type of evaluation he or she will receive. When you're finished with this section, press Done, and you will be ready to start your evaluation. If you have any questions, please press the support button or contact us at support@kickmetrics.com, and we'll get back to you ASAP.